The revolutionary power of softness, how Black entrepreneurs are redefining success through vulnerability. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Kanisha Warren, known to many as Nisha B, a remarkable author, planner, creator, entrepreneur, podcast host, and mother of four who is revolutionizing what leadership looks like for Black women in business. Her work through Nisha B Lifestyle and Elevation has created ripples of transformation across Texas and beyond, empowering countless women to redefine success on their own terms. What makes Kanisha truly exceptional isn't just her impressive list of accomplishments, it's how she's modeling a new paradigm of leadership that challenges everything we thought we knew about strength. Kanisha isn't just building a business, she's sparking a movement that's reshaping how an entire generation of Black women entrepreneurs view themselves and their work. Her courage to stand in her truth as both a powerhouse and a human being with real struggles is literally saving lives by giving others permission to breathe. We've been sold a dangerous myth, a poison packaged as wisdom, a myth that has shaped our workplaces, our relationships, and our inner lives. The myth goes something like this: to succeed, especially as a Black professional, you must be unbreakable, invulnerable, always on, never showing weakness. This myth has cost us dearly our health, our joy, our very humanity. Today, I want to challenge a fundamental assumption that permeates our culture, particularly for Black women entrepreneurs and professionals. We've been taught that strength means impenetrability, that vulnerability equals weakness, that rest is a luxury we cannot afford. But what if everything we've been taught about strength is wrong? What if the most revolutionary act of power available to us isn't pushing harder, but allowing ourselves to be soft? This isn't just a nice idea, it's a radical reimagining of what leadership can look like, especially for those who have been historically marginalized and forced to adopt armor just to survive professional spaces not designed for them. The data is clear: burnout is epidemic among Black women professionals. A study from McKinsey found that 42% of Black women report feeling burned out at work, significantly higher than their white counterparts. The strong Black woman trope hasn't just shaped external perceptions, it has become an internal mandate that's literally killing us through stress related illnesses, anxiety, and depression. But there's a movement emerging, a quiet rebellion. Some call it the soft girl era, though don't let the playful name fool you. This isn't about aesthetics or trends. It's about a profound spiritual, emotional, and mental recalibration that challenges the very foundation of how we've defined power. When I spoke with Kanisha, she shared something that stopped me in my tracks. The moment I stopped trying to prove my strength to everyone and allowed myself to be vulnerable, to rest, to ask for help, to say no, was the moment my business actually began to thrive. This runs counter to everything we've been taught about success, doesn't it? Especially for Black women entrepreneurs who have often had to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Let me share three transformative insights from my conversation with Kanisha and other Black entrepreneurs who are pioneering this new approach to leadership. First, embracing your soft side can actually fuel your business growth by fostering genuine relationships and innovative thinking. Kanisha's experience at the Dallas Juneteenth Market in 2025 illustrates this perfectly. As a recent divorcee balancing motherhood and acting career, podcast hosting, and entrepreneurship, she could have easily presented only her polished professional side. Instead, she chose to share her authentic journey, including the struggles of transition and healing. The result? She sold out her product lines of empowerment themed planners and books. She gained new collaborations from attendees who resonated with her story. Her social media following grew significantly, and she was invited as a guest speaker at empowerment workshops across Texas. By allowing herself to be seen, not just as a business owner, but as a whole person navigating life's complexities, she created deeper connections with her audience. These weren't just transactional relationships, they were transformational ones. People don't just buy what I create, Kanisha told me, her eyes shining with conviction. They buy into a vision of what's possible when we stop pretending we have it all together. When I shared my divorce story at that market, women literally wept at my booth, not from pity, but from recognition. One woman whispered, "If you can rebuild, maybe I can too." That connection is worth more than any sales strategy. This challenges the conventional wisdom that vulnerability and business success are mutually exclusive. In fact, research from Harvard Business Review suggests that leaders who demonstrate appropriate vulnerability are actually perceived as more authentic and trustworthy. Key factors in building customer loyalty and team cohesion. The second insight is equally powerful. Community support is not optional. It's essential for sustaining both personal well being and professional momentum. This was beautifully demonstrated by a collective of independent Black women entrepreneurs who leveraged digital platforms like TikTok to build supportive communities across North America. Facing isolation in traditional business spaces and systemic barriers to capital, these women created virtual meetups and knowledge sharing networks specifically designed for their unique challenges. Many had started their businesses solo during the pandemic years, but found renewed energy and practical advice from peers facing similar life challenges. They organized virtual sessions featuring experts on scaling businesses sustainably while maintaining mental health. They used hashtags like iDigital Marketing to exchange industry specific strategies. The outcomes were remarkable. Members reported increased revenue from collaborative promotions. Several launched joint ventures after meeting through these networks. Perhaps most significantly, they help normalize conversations about self care within entrepreneurial circles traditionally focused solely on profit metrics. One founder shared, "Before finding this community, I thought success meant working until I collapsed. Now I understand that my business can only be as healthy as I am. We remind each other to sleep, to eat, to take days off. These aren't luxuries, they're business necessities." This collective approach earned them recognition from regional business organizations for innovation and community building and features in industry publications highlighting the success of their collaborative model. What's particularly striking about this example is how it reframes community not as a nice to have, but as a strategic business asset. For Black women entrepreneurs, especially, who often face unique barriers, this communal approach creates resilience that individual hustle simply cannot sustain. The third insight may be the most countercultural of all: redefining what strength looks like in leadership means making room for self care practices alongside ambition. You don't have to choose one over the other. Consider the case of a pioneering Black male entrepreneur, Chuck, who revitalized his small town's economy through arts based initiatives. Facing systemic exclusion from property ownership, and business investment historically prevalent against minorities in his community, he became one of the first local property owners as a visible role model. He established venues like the Moonlight Club, which became hubs for cultural gatherings and business incubation. The economic impact was undeniable: increased foot traffic, new businesses opening nearby, and opportunities for fellow creatives. But what made his approach truly revolutionary wasn't just the economic outcomes, it was how he centered cultural identity, authentic expression, and community well being in his business model. He didn't separate his ambition from his values or his personal well being from his professional goals. Instead, he integrated them. My grandmother taught me that true wealth isn't just what you build, but whether you're healthy enough to enjoy it, he explained. I've seen too many of our elders sacrifice everything for success, only to be too broken to experience it. I refuse to perpetuate that cycle. His blueprint has been replicated elsewhere, showing how creative approaches and unapologetic authenticity drive sustained transformation, not just individual gain. This represents a profound shift from the extractive models of business that have dominated our economy. Now, I can almost hear the skeptics. This sounds nice in theory, but the real world doesn't reward softness. The real world is tough, competitive, unforgiving. I understand that concern, but consider this. What if the real world is exactly what we collectively create? What if the systems that reward burnout, that punish vulnerability, that equate worth with productivity, what if these aren't immutable laws of nature, but simply constructs we can choose to reimagine? The entrepreneurs I've highlighted today aren't succeeding despite their embrace of softness. They're succeeding because of it. They're pioneering a new model of leadership that integrates ambition with authenticity, drive with sustainability, success with well being. This isn't about abandoning goals or lowering standards. It's about expanding our definition of success to include not just what we achieve, but how we achieve it and whether we can sustain it. For Black women, especially, who have historically carried the weight of families, communities, and workplaces on their shoulders, this shift isn't just beneficial, it's revolutionary. It's permission to put down the cape, to exhale, to prioritize joy, not as a reward for productivity, but as a birthright. As Kanisha told me, I spent years thinking I had to be superwoman handling everything, never complaining, always strong. But strength isn't about carrying everything without breaking. True strength is knowing when to set things down, when to ask for help, when to rest. I want you to really hear this. Your value is not measured by your productivity. Your worth is not determined by your output. Your humanity is not a liability to overcome. It is your greatest asset. Today, I'm challenging you to disrupt everything you've been taught about success and strength. I'm asking you to consider that the most radical act of power might be allowing yourself to be fully human in spaces that have demanded your dehumanization. What would change in your life if you gave yourself permission to rest without guilt, to ask for help without shame, to say no without explanation? This isn't just about personal well being, though that would be reason enough. This is about creating new models of leadership and success that don't require us to sacrifice our humanity at the altar of achievement. The world doesn't need more burned out leaders perpetuating systems of extraction and depletion. It needs leaders who model sustainable success, who demonstrate that ambition and well being aren't competing priorities, but complementary ones. So I challenge you, before this day ends, identify one area where you've been armoring up instead of showing up authentically. One boundary you need to set, one unrealistic expectation you're ready to release. And then take one small, concrete step toward embracing your softness as strength. Because the revolution we need won't be fueled by burnout. It will be sustained by communities of people who have learned that true power lies not in being unbreakable, but in having the courage to be soft in a world that worships hardness. Thank you